US President Donald Trump has toured the burned-out California town of Paradise, the area that was hit the hardest by the wildfire called the Camp Fire. Speaking from the remains of the town, he made some more controversial comments about forest management, this time bringing up the president of Finland in the process.
Got to take care of the floors, the floors of the forests, very important. You look at other countries where they do it differently, and it's a whole different story. I was with the president of Finland, and he said, we have a much different, we're a forest nation. He called it a forest nation. And they spend a lot of time on raking and cleaning and doing things, and they don't have any problem. And when it is, it's a very small problem. So I know everybody's looking at that, to that end, and it's going to work out. It's going to work out well.
Well, after that, a bemused Finnish president responded in a newspaper interview saying he had spoken with President Trump about forest fires, but not about raking. President Sauli Niinistö said he had explained that Finland has a good monitoring system for wildfires. We'll get a little bit more on this issue of wildfires from Professor Stefan Dörr with Swansea University. He specialises in wildfires. Good morning to you, Professor Dörr. It's lovely to have you again on the programme. Obviously, the Finnish president there saying that raking is not part of their regular forestry management. But are there lessons that the US could learn from the way that Finland deals with its enormous amount of forests?
Well, Finland is a completely different story. Finland is a boreal forest, and the fire situation in Finland is really uncomparable, completely uncomparable with what's going on in California.
OK. We know that obviously in California the forest might be different. We've spoken on this programme before about the fact that global warming has a part to play in the increased aggression and number of fires that we're seeing. How do you think these fires can be managed in the future, taking all of that into account?
Well, this is really more about managing the land, and Trump is right that land management needs to change, not necessarily only forest management. It's basically the whole environment, particularly where houses are being built, where settlements are, where towns are, need to be managed in a better way. That means removing the fuel from close to the buildings, but also means building in a way that houses are not so readily flammable. Once one house burns, it's very easy to ignite the next house. So even if you clear all the vegetation, if you have wooden buildings, one will readily ignite the next one.
OK, so that's in the sense of how you treat the fire once it's already lit. But if we're looking at the prevention of these fires to start with, is there anything that the US, or particularly the state of California, could be doing to try to prevent these fires breaking out?
It's very difficult preventing fires breaking out under such extreme climatic conditions. When you have very dry weather and very strong winds, all you need is a single ignition source, and ignition sources are common. It's really about managing the landscape before the fire occurs. And this really means, particularly for those who live in these particularly flammable environments, to be ready for evacuation, but also to keep their properties very clean from any flammable material, be that in the gutters, be that around the houses, but also not building with very flammable material. And so it's really about managing the landscape where humans live, rather than trying to put out a fire which is nearly impossible to put out once it's burning under such extreme conditions.